Seed tape. What is it? Do you need it? Why you do need it? And 3 different ways of making your very own seed tape and avoiding the high prices of pre-made seed tapes. I'm Gail, the Gardening Gal, and today let's talk seed tapes. Seed tape will allow you to space out your seeds in a, somewhat logical manner or somewhat even manner, and then let you plant it directly in the garden just as is, and it works great. Now, the best use for seed tape is for something like carrots and turnips and radishes, etc. I'm going to demonstrate today with radish Easter basket mix, some new Cadora carrot, and some black nebula carrot. So those are going to be my seed tapes for my 3 ways to make it. And let's get started with what you need for the first seed tape. Now for the first seed tape, what you'll be needing is a small bowl, and I have a teaspoon of flour, just regular old flour in here. I've also got some water and a teaspoon. You'll need some sort of stirring stick, although you can use also a toothpick, and you will need some toilet paper. I'll start out with, I put a little bit more than a teaspoon in. Usually you want to go ahead and keep the amount of flour and water the same. In other words, a teaspoon versus a teaspoon. But if you're going to air it all, it's better to err on the side of it being a little more watery than a little too pasty. So next thing you need to do is just stir this up. Now I've got my flour water mixture all stirred up, and now we're taking the toilet paper. I would advise you to use a 2-ply or 3-ply toilet paper and then just separate it. So, like so, just take it apart. Now, while I'm taking this apart, I will say that you can make your seed tape as long or as short as you want to. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm only doing, maybe a little bit over a foot. But like I said, you can do it as long or as short as you want. And I actually like a foot to 2 feet because I like to grow a lot of different kinds of vegetables. 2 different kinds of carrots or 3 different kinds of radishes. So making shorter seed tapes makes it a whole lot easier to go ahead and switch up your veggies. Okay, what do you need now that you've got them taken apart? Well, what you can do is you can cut them, and I probably should have cut them with the scissors like this before I separated them. But so all you do is cut like that. But I'm going to save this one for another, and let me get my pre-cut toilet paper for you. I'll start out by putting some of my seeds on there. I'm doing the black nebula for this particular demonstration. Now, what you can do is take your toothpick, and you can see that in some toothpicks, there's a flat end and a narrow end. I like to use the flat end for this. Is dip it a little bit into the flour water mixture, and then somewhere near the center, and let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit more and bring it in closer. All I'm doing is I'm depositing a little bit of the flour water mixture about an inch or so apart. It all depends on what you're growing. For example, if your seed packet says like thin to 2 inches apart, you may want to do it every 2 inches. But what I like to do because you're never sure with germinating seeds. You may get 100% germination, you may get 50%, you may get somewhere in between. So I like to go ahead and sow it just a little closer, like 1 inch apart in this particular case for this carrot. And then just drop a little bit of the flour water mixture, and think of it as a paste. Okay, I've got about half of it done, so I'm going to put my toothpick up there. And actually, what I need to do is I need to take that toothpick. I have kind of scraped off a lot of the stuff, and I'm going to take it, grab a seed and deposit it. So it's really just that easy. Grabbing a seed, putting it in a little paste, and you can create a whole big tape with very little effort. So you can see how fast I'm doing it, and you can see that using something like this is going to make life a whole lot easier when it comes time for planting. Now that I've got all my seeds taken care of, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one end and I'm going to line it up with the other side and then press them together. And as you can tell, it's kind of snugging those seeds right in place. You want to do this while the tape is still, or while the glue, so to speak, is still a little damp, just so it sticks really well. And I like to tap down the seeds just slightly. After it dries, and you do want to put this in an area where you can let it air dry after you've created your tape. If you don't tap it down, that way sometimes the seeds can actually come out. And because remember, this isn't Elmer's glue. We're using a flour water paste. But once they're all tapped down nice, put them in a dry location and just let them dry. Now for this one, you still need your trusty toilet paper. I have some water. I have it in a spray bottle just because it's easier, but you can use whatever you want. I am going to use my radish Easter basket mix seeds, and I have my trusty toothpick. If you have a little spray bottle, one way to do it is just to lightly spritz, and I do mean lightly spritz, almost like mist, your toilet paper with some of the water. Now in this particular case, I'm going to show you one way of doing it spritz, and then I'm going to show you another way on the other side, but it's spritzed. Okay, I've got a little bit of water, as you can see probably up here in the corner, and what I will do is I'm going to soak the end, and this is the flat end of my toothpick, because this will make it easier to pick up seeds, because I'm still going to grab a seed and then put it on. Now when you're not using paste, it takes a little bit of extra effort to get your seed in place, because it may want to go ahead and move around a little bit. So just tap it in slightly. If you have to, go ahead and re-wet your toothpick, and some, which may be kind of big, may need a little coaxing. Now I'm having to move my camera angle a little bit, and that's because I'm going to also use this. And also, when you spritz like this, you've got to keep in mind that when toilet paper is wet, it's, shall we say, fragile. So I'm going to leave this here, and by the way, do this on a waterproof surface if you're going to use this, because you don't want water on like wood or something like that that's going to mess you up. Anyway, here we go with a paintbrush, and in this particular case, I'm just kind of dipping. And you can do the same thing. You can take your paintbrush and just put your seed on and go like that. So I'll do a few more for you, and then I will do the rest and show you the fastest method, and then I'll also show you another method that I like to use with carrots especially. I forgot about mentioning with the paintbrush, if you're going to use this method, I suggest you use a new paintbrush and then wash it thoroughly. Or if you have an existing paintbrush that you've only used for water-based, in other words, not anything oil-based, just make sure to wash it very, very thoroughly before you use any kind of paintbrush with your seeds. All right, so what's the next step? The next step is, as you may guess, is taking these and gently folding it over. And as you can see, sometimes with the water, the seeds may move a little bit. So if that happens, I'm going to take my trusty spritzer and spritz it a little bit more, and then very gently go and wrap them. Now I've cut myself a piece and I'm just going to straighten it out slightly because it does come a little bit curled off of the roll. So now it's pretty stable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to peel it off the backing because right now it's not sticky, and that's because of the backing. So there we go. And now, as you might have guessed, it's about the same. I take a little bit of water on the edge of my toothpick and drop them on. And making sure to not put my hand on it too much. Now, in this particular way, the seed is just going to stick. And because I've done this with carrot seeds, I've done this with others. And the seed tape method, to me, is the easiest. Now, I will put a link. I did get this on Amazon. I will put a link, and FYI, yes, it is an affiliate link, but I actually did buy this myself. All right, so I've got these all lined up. So once again, all I'm doing is I'm folding it and then tapping it down or pressing it down with my fingers. And as you can see, this is a very fast way of doing it. But again, if you're not a fan of having anything other than like paste or flour paste or water, this may not be the method for you. But I find it very easy, and I can easily write on the very tip exactly what my seed is. Side note, if you're enjoying today's video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and leave me a comment, so it really helps. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Now here's an extra bonus. I have what you can see a ruler, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure to see what 1 inch is. And 1 inch for me is roughly the difference from the distance from the end of my finger to my first joint. And 2 inches is roughly to my second joint. So if I have something that I want to put out like 1 inch or 2 inches apart, I use my finger because it's easier than carrying around a ruler. Now here you see I have a full width of toilet paper. In other words, I didn't cut it in half or anything. I am back to using my paste for this particular method because I think it works better than either of the other two. And this is the carrot I'm growing, Long Rouge Sang, and I probably mispronounced that, but I think it's really cool having a carrot that's variegated color like that. Anyway, I think it's cool. All right, remember what I told you about how, measuring your finger and seeing exactly, how far apart your digits might be? So what I'm doing is I've got my paste, and I actually had to add a little bit more water to it because it was starting to dry out. And so put a little bit in, then looking to be about 2 inches from that, put another dot. If I want them 1 inch apart, I know that it's about that far. Grab some of these carrots and stick them on. Now, if you see that I've got 2 on here, 2 seeds, I'm not going to stress about it too much because, hey, sometimes that's the way it works. So if you get 2 seeds on it, no big deal. Like, there, I did it again. Now I have my carrots out. I have them spaced. I'm just going to put a few dots here and there. We're not going to put seeds on these. We're just dotting. Now that I've dotted, take this out of the way a little bit. I'm taking the other piece of toilet paper and just trying to line it up as best I can and put it on. And those extra dots will act as a little bit of extra glue. And now I have perfectly spaced carrots. Again, you need to let this dry, and I would, again, make sure that you press these down so that they are in good contact. So the seeds want to be in nice contact with the paper so that they don't fall out when you go to plant them. Toilet paper, how it makes a difference. Okay, if you get a 2-ply toilet paper, it's easy because basically you just kind of peel the layers back. You can cut it first. It makes life easier if you use a 2-ply. Can you use a 1-ply? Certainly you can. Now, question that some of you may have is, hey, I don't want to use toilet paper. I want to use something like a paper towel. You can. I would suggest using a paper towel for larger seeds. For example, let me think, radish might do okay, turnips, anything that is large like that. But I would also suggest that you find a paper towel that is thin. So in other words, you don't want to use something that's nice and thick, and you know they keep putting commercials on it for being so strong and that. Well, your seeds don't want strong. Anyway, so that's it for today with the DIY seed tape, how to make seed tape, and I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, yes, and leave a comment. What's your favorite way of making the seed tape? So this is Gail the Gardening Gal signing out, saying we'll go ahead and be planting these in a later video, and then we'll be checking on them throughout the season to see how well they work. I'll say goodbye for now, and have a great day. Bye.